We are back. We have a new name. It is a new year, and we have a new segment. It's called Two Bobs and an Eric. We're going to talk about things that are likely to make news and sports headlines in 2022. Bob number one is Bob Muscatell, morning show host at WLIS and WMRD Radio. Bob number two is Bob Joyce, radio voice of a number of UConn teams on the UConn Sports Network and 97.9 ESPN Radio. Bob and Bob, welcome.
Thank you.
Eric, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to both of you as well. Bob Muscatell, I want to start with you.
Sure.
There's that connection between a radio host and the listeners. What was the biggest thing that you were getting calls about in 2021?
Well, I'm sure you probably did one of these type of segments maybe about a year ago, and it was all about COVID. And it's all about COVID now. And I would imagine when we talk maybe next year, it will be about COVID once again. COVID-19, I think, dominates the conversation. And why shouldn't it? There's so much, first of all, there's so many facts and figures out there, but so much confusion because there is so much out there. And people are trying to make sense of it. I try to put something forth every morning that kind of, handles all the protocols and tries to make some sense of it all. But I still get calls from people, really? That's not what I heard, so it's a troubling time to get through.
And certainly it just seems like it just keeps coming at us. I think one of the big victories we had in 21, Bob Joyce, is fans back in arenas. And I know as somebody who calls games, to have that real roar of the crowd back was great.
It was very weird last season for basketball. Being in Gamble or being in the studio broadcasting games remotely, it was just a very strange feeling until the Final Four. But yes, the first time I was in an arena for a basketball game this season, or hockey for that matter, it was fun to watch. It was just fun to feel the vibe. And obviously with the UConn men actually playing Big East home games this season, I can't even imagine what the roar has been like or what's going to be like as the season progresses. Because we've got a couple of good basketball teams, of course, to watch here. And one of them's on a little bit of an adventure now with a few injuries, but that's another story.
Well, that's what, we talked a lot about UConn football, and we had Mike DeMuro from The Day on, and we said, Mike, give us some good news. He said, basketball season's coming. So obviously these UConn teams, it's something to cheer for as we head into 2022.
Right, and they're going through some injuries. Of course, the big story is Paige Beckers, where the Huskies will be without her for at least 2 months after her surgery on a very fluke injury. But as Gino and I and Deb Fisk, my broadcast partner, like to put it, this is going to be quite the adventure of a season. You're going to see great, you're going to see good, you're going to see bad, and you're going to see ugly. And after all these years of having great, flawless basketball from Gino's team, maybe they're due. Maybe they're, given a pass to have one this year. But the games are going to be fun. I mean, we're not going to have many boring moments on our broadcast, I can tell you that. But it's going to be fun to see how this all comes together, the chemistry of this group, and how everything just gets put together. And maybe by the time Paige and the other players come back, things will be fun. I keep reminding people, Tennessee won a national championship in 1997 with 10 losses because they went through a rash of injuries that included beating UConn. So it's doable.
All right, we'll watch and see what happens. Bob Muscatell, what are the other big things is the political discord around the country? And the recent death of Bob Dole sort of struck a chord with you and your listeners.
Boy, it sure did. I think I probably received more calls that day, the morning after, than I had in a while. And he was known as the great compromiser, back in his day when he was in Congress. And, it resonates with people now because who's the great compromiser now? Is there somebody in Congress that, like Bob Dole, used to reach across the aisle? Who is that that's reaching across the aisle now? It's hard to find somebody that on a consistent basis will compromise, will reach across the aisle and try to find some common ground. And, I heard from a listener the other day and he said, I think the reason for that is the watchdog mentality. As soon as somebody on the right reaches across, what does Fox News say? And on the left, same thing. CNN's keeping track. Your report card is out. And suddenly people are a little tentative about compromising, and that's a shame because we really need to get some things done.
What do you think the big topic moving forward will be in the news world? Is there something you're expecting in the next few weeks to be talking about?
Well, it's funny. I talk with one of your colleagues, Rob Polanski, every week, and it's a blast to talk with him. But we have some sobering conversations. A lot of them have to do with guns in school, and that's going to continue, I think, forward in 2022 to be a huge topic. And, I heard from a listener the other day that said, boy, it would be nice if we could start at a place talking about the truth. You know, Alex Jones just got found liable for damages against the Sandy Hook parents, and thank goodness he was. You know, but it'd be nice to be able to tell the truth and start there, and then maybe have a conversation about maybe some common sense gun laws.
Bob, Joyce, I don't want to just talk to you about UConn, but obviously a big thing coming up in 22 is the football program has a new coach. And a lot of the criticism in the past has been not having that connection with Connecticut. And boy, he's not leaving a Connecticut stone unturned, at least in his early days with Coach Moore.
No, he's actually gone around to the prep schools a lot, and he actually watched a lot of high school playoff games. So yeah, he's trying to find that little, gem of a Connecticut football player that he can convince to stay at UConn and make an impact. And when you look at the schedule, I mean, earlier on National Signing Day, he was asked about, what's one of the selling points, life as an independent. Well, when you see them playing Syracuse and Michigan and North Carolina State alone next year, along with Boston College, and then down the road continues to play some good teams, yeah, that entices you to come to UConn. And they're on TV quite a bit. CBS Sports Network, of course, and Learfield put a deal together, and that's a coup. I mean, for a program that has been struggling as much as they have, to be on national television, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good selling point to get somebody to come here. We'll see what it looks like. It might take a little time, but at least the early thought is that he's doing everything he can to get this going in the right direction.
Real quick, talking NFL, the Jets and the Giants stink. We don't have to talk about them.
I've been a Giants fan for a long time, I know.
Same here.
We got the Pats. We got Brady down in Florida that a lot of New Englanders have been rooting for. Still some exciting NFL ahead.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Tom Brady, what he continues to do is just extraordinary. He keeps himself in such great shape, and he's surrounded by a lot of tremendous teammates, both when he was with the Patriots and now with the Buccaneers, so he doesn't have to do it all himself. And what Bill Belichick continues to do since he's been a defensive coordinator with the Giants when they were good back in the 80s and early 90s is just remarkable. What he's done in New England and the way he's got Mac Jones, he doesn't have to have him as front and center as the main piece to that puzzle. They've got an outstanding defense. They run the ball well. Who knows what we get to February? Will it be Patriots Buccaneers? I don't know about that, but we might come close.
We do have two against Brady. We lost the war, but we won a couple of battles.
Yes, we did.
A couple of battles.
Yes,
Two.
Indeed, we did.
We got a few seconds left. Give me a bold prediction for 2022, Bob.
Okay, how about 2044? Tom Brady, 17th Super Bowl MVP, 3 touchdown passes to his son, and because they're all-inclusive, 1 to his daughter. And in 2022, I think the Trumps get divorced.
Wow.
I'm not rooting for, I don't want anyone's marriage to break up, but I think Melania has had enough. And I think also the fact that he's a philandering bully, that's another reason.
We're all out of time, so you have 1 second to give me a bold prediction.
COVID and the Olympics will have a big impact come wintertime.
Bob Joyce, Bob Muscatell, maybe we'll make this a New Year's tradition, having you guys on to prognosticate.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us.